Welcome back to the Neurospiritual Awakening podcast with Dr. Val. I am indeed your host, and today I'm super excited to introduce our guest, Asta. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Val, and I'm so happy to be here. I'm excited for this. Like I said before, I wasn't expecting it, and when I got the message, I was like, "Do I say yes?" And I was like, "I've got to stop saying, 'Do I say yes?' I need to just say yes more often." It's a bit like that movie with Jim Carrey, and is it Jim Carrey? I think where he has to say yes all the time. Do you know which
Oh,
movie I'm talking about? Yeah. So I love
no, but no.
well, it doesn't always work out for him. It's a bit more, I suppose, about, not always saying no to things because you're not, maybe you're scared of it. Maybe it's a safety thing. Maybe jumping into things is actually a good thing. Yeah.
Oh, well, I appreciate you jumping into this. So, yeah, thank you. And we've already gotten started. But anyway, I just want to say a couple of things before I let you say a couple, a couple of things. So, basically, I'm excited because we haven't had a conversation before. This is our first interaction, really, other than, a like on Instagram type of thing. And of course, we interact with similar people, in a way. So like Angie and like that. So I'm kind of excited to just have a firsthand experience rather than not. So yeah, I'm quite excited, and I'm always excited when I interview someone I don't know because it's like, from a neuroscientific level, we relate to people like we know them. Because once a loop is formed in our brain, like, oh, I know what that person's like. And then every day your brain just resorts to the same loop about them. But that's completely inaccurate because they're not the same person as your loop. Like, people transform on the moment by moment by moment, day by day. So even though they're not the same human being, the loop in your brain's still the same. So it's a bit like futile. But anyway, that's my little neuroscience spiel before we get started. Before we get started. But I'm excited because I've got no neural patterns about you.
Awesome. Same. I love that. I love how you brought that into it because it's another energy, isn't it, really? That energy is it's different each time, like you said. So like if you've got this idea in your head of who they are, like even, talking to you, just briefly before we got on, I learnt some other things that I didn't see in your chart, which is great because then it just gives me a bit more of an understanding on you. And this is, understanding people's energies more is, just would be so awesome if everybody understood everyone's energies on a different and deeper level rather than that surface level of what have I already been told. Okay, because you've said that before. I've watched you say, what were you told? That's what, now it's not the same. It's, it doesn't, yeah, I can't speak like you do, but it makes sense. It makes so much sense to me.
Oh, good, good. And well, I think also that's where we're moving, right? As this spiritual awakening is hitting us, whether we like it or not, people are gonna have to re re-examine their lives and their capacities for reading energies. And if they don't, good luck.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, they'll be left behind because, the energy is moving right now with us and it's up to us to go on with it. It's a bit like this one energy year, which is also in Chinese astrology, the fire horse, and it has been taking off and it's you either go with it or you get left behind. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. It's got like we're at half point already, nearly, which is like, yeah, I get that. I get the fire horse part. It's it's like woof. It's halfway.
Yeah,
Um,
already.
If you started on the 1st of January, of course, not everybody does, but nonetheless, I'm just going off of that for now. Um, okay, well, listen, why don't you introduce yourself? As you know, I let my people introduce themselves. As my listeners know, I like that. So please introduce yourself.
Okay, my name's Asta. I am a master numerologist. Before that, I was a bookkeeper for my husband. I still am a bookkeeper for my husband. So that was my experience with numbers beforehand. it wasn't such a good experience because bookkeeping is, has its side. It's a sad side because you're constantly chasing people for money, or that was my life. But we've ran a business successfully for quite some time now, 30 odd years. We are both life path numbers 303, so that makes it very entertaining at home. So there's 2 children in the house constantly, as well as I have 3 children. They're all adult children. And I'm a very strong 6 energy, so I'm very much a mama bear in the house. And I found numbers, and I've found the energy of numbers just lights me up. It helps me. I've understood myself more. I was already on a healing journey, and it helped me understand myself more. And I've pulled it apart more and more because the 3 energy in me just wanted to know more about it. The student just said, what more is there to pull apart? So I've pulled it apart even more and more, and I'm starting to understand how this energy works and how it can interact with other energies. So like astrology, human design, tarot cards, all this energy, it works with it. And I'm so excited by it, and I want to pull it apart. And now, like I said, once I understood the numbers, I could understand my family more. I could understand why my daughter would maybe push away from me, because it wasn't she was pushing away. Her 5 energy didn't want to feel trapped by the smothering 6 energy mama bear. Oh, give me hugs. No, leave me alone right now. So, that wasn't her fault. That was her energy. My energy was just being too much. So, understanding how our energies work can change so much in our life. Yeah, I know I'm going on a rant, sorry.
No, that's fine. I can wheel people back in, no worries. I'm just fascinated, as everybody knows, if you listen to this podcast, I'm very much into numbers. And Asta and I had a little spiel just before I hit the record button because our understanding of numbers is very different. Well, not very different. I mean, there's a certain, you know what I mean? There's a certain thing that you follow, but ultimately there's different branches, and it's really exciting to learn for me anyway, because hey, I'm into learning, right? Because I'm a life path 38/11 too, leading with the 3. It's all about learning anyway. So yeah, so I'm kind of excited that we can jam about the numbers and learn in that sense.
Exactly.
And I may, and of course, most of my listeners are probably into numbers too, although I don't know how far the reach goes. You never know who actually listens. Like people may hit a like button, and then you get whatever a number of views, but then like you never really know whether there's like who else is watching, who else is watching. So I don't know how versed people are in numerology. So we may have to just elaborate a little bit every now and then.
Yes. Why not? I mean, I try to explain to people who are not really understanding what numerology is. I start off with, well, do you know what astrology is? You get an idea. Most people do, because everyone seems to know what their star sign is, which is, again, still surface level when it comes to astrology, because astrology, when you actually write up the chart, there's so much more to that chart, which is so much more to that person, which makes that person more unique. We all have this unique blueprint. Now, you can add to that astrology chart by having a numerology chart, because numerology works off our date of birth, which works off what energy we have chosen to come in with, which energies we want to move with. I liken it a bit to the old radio stations that you had to dial in to tune into your number, not a digital one anymore where you press the buttons, but you actually had to dial into it. So say your birth date adds up to mine is a 303, yours is a 3811 too. You now need to tune into that number. When you tune into that number and you feel those energies come through, then your soul numbers from our name actually start to blossom and come out, because that's what they come here for. The soul has really got a purpose it wants to be here for. And our life path number is kind of like our meat suit, what we walk around on this planet with. So I like to think of it like a radio station. When you tune into it, once you got it sweet right on that spot, it's crystal clear and you can hear everything, and everything seems to be, the music is, you can turn up the sound because the music is crystal clear. When you're off just a little bit, it's all crackly. So I feel it's the same. When you're off with your numbers, you're off with that energy. So you're sort of working against it.
Yeah, yeah. Very, very interesting because yeah, you can see it. Like I have another person in my life who is the same life path number as me, a 3811 and vastly distinct expression, let me tell you. And of course we have different, soul urge expression numbers and all that too, but not too different. Like our birth dates are very, very similar. So it's like not the same birthday, but very, very similar. But I'm just like, dude, what are you doing? But maybe that's just my, my seven energy. The I like to judge.
That might come from the eight. The eight's a judge as well. The
A
judge, the
little
jury.
judgy.
Yes, which is nothing wrong with that, because an eight needs that in order to be able to be the architect, to be the architect builder. That's what
Oh,
the eight energy is for. So
I've embraced it. I mean, listen, what I've learned from whatever I've learned from numerology is like I'm learning to embrace myself because I can see it through the numbers. Astrology is a little bit beyond my brain for now, not forever, but just for now. Okay, yeah, it's a bit. I find it really complicated. Like for me, for now, maybe I'll get really into it, but dude, it's vast. That field is too vast for me for now. So I'm sticking to what I'm attracted to, which is, numbers and some other stuff.
yeah, I agree with you. I'm actually doing an astrology course right now because I want to add it to what I already know. And yes, it is very deep, but that's the beauty, I suppose, about the astrology is it's about energy again, but it's a very deep version of it. So you can dive in even deeper. So what we get from it's not you can say surface level from numerology, but I don't want to insult it because it's not, because you can get very deep with a chart. When you start talking to someone about their chart, sometimes when I'm talking to someone about their chart, other things will pop up as I'm talking. I'm like, whoa, well, I can see this, 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 and this. And I think I might have showed you that a little bit before, where the numbers will actually start popping out. So, so much more can be pulled out from it. You're going to constantly, you could pull numbers out of there. And then if you added astrology to it and understood that part of it as well, you would understand how completely unique you are. Even twins who have the same date of birth. Yes, okay, you need their name now to be able to pull them apart a little bit. But first and foremost, every number has an expressed and a suppressed version of it. So,
And probably many versions in between.
yes, exactly. Because if we go back to the analogy of the radio station, you could be only one click off and it's slightly crackly, or you could be 4 or 5 clicks off and it's very crackly. So, you could be quite close to that energy and tuning right into it. And if you think about twins and how some people say, well, they look the same, but one's like this and one's like that. That's, well, one's suppressed and one's expressed. And that's
Yeah.
just understanding their energies. And then to make them unique, it's in their name. Yeah, sorry, Dom.
No, that's really cool because from the neuroscience background that I have, there's a lot of studies done on twins and in science in generally because it's like a controlled environment. You have two identical, like genetically identical, especially if they're genetically identical people, right? And this thing, epigenetics, that I'm into is about how our environment impacts us at the level of our DNA. So ultimately, those two people that are identically the same are placed in separate, different environments, which a lot of twins are. They don't just live together. I mean, listen, when they're placed in different environments, they end up becoming different people, right? Not identical. So that's like a very, very popular example of epigenetics is to examine genetically identical people that place themselves in distinct environments. And I'm gathering that through numbers and that, the environments could be extended beyond the physical environment and social environment to energetic environments, right? And then you can tie all the woo stuff in, as I like to call it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
woo stuff, but obviously, I think that'll change. I don't think people are going to continue to keep calling it woo because you can't deny it. You've just tied epigenetics to it, and it makes so
Yeah, yeah.
much sense. When you talk about it, I'm like resonating and just get that clicks. That makes sense to me. It makes sense to me. I wouldn't be able to quote it like you do because numbers is me. I'm numbers. That's me. That's my energy. That's what I love. But then you adding that to it, it's like, wow, we're making this beautiful cake right now, and you just put some awesome icing on it that gives it that different kind of feel. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. No, I mean, I say woo facetiously because I'm all woo, as you know. I'm all woo. I'm all woo. Like, hey, hey.
Yeah.
Enough said, right? I'm all woo. Um, but okay, cool. So let's talk about the awakening process, given that this is the name of the podcast. So I do want to touch upon that, and then we can talk about whatever else we want to talk about. But let's just tick that off. So what's your flavor of the awakening process, or like the most recent one, or the most favorite one, or just let's just talk about that for a sec.
I think the biggest one for me was obviously during, the COVID times. We
Mm.
Everyone was so engrossed with what was going on with the TV, and I was finding things that didn't make sense because it just in my core, I thought something's not right here. This is not right. The whole household thought mum was losing her plot, and we're all worried about me. Do we need to send you to a hospital? And I'm like, no, 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 you need to see what I'm seeing. And yeah, of course, I went very deep. I'd seen some things that I really wish I'd never seen, but also triggered a lot of things from my past, from my own sort of traumas that I'd had. And it just made me more aware of there is something more, and there's something more. And I was always feeling that inside, that I had something more for me, and I could never find what it was. So I kind of am semi grateful for COVID, because then it gave me that. Okay, it was like a shake. Okay, now find it what it is that you want. And I started finding things that I started healing more, and I started looking into things. And the more I healed, the more aware I was to what was going on around me, and the more I was able to understand who I really am, and starting to tap into my energetic blueprint. And then, I found numbers, and I learned what I learned about the numbers. And then I thought, this is not the end. I've got to keep going. I need to pull more from these numbers, because this energy is amazing. I can understand this. There's got to be more to it. And it just got bigger and bigger and bigger. And I know I started wanting more, because I was starting to be the expressed version of my life path number. My 3 energy was really blossoming and coming out, and wanted more. So that's where I got my awareness from. So yes, I know I've brought numerology back into it again, but had the awareness of the things going on that just didn't make sense to me. And I'm constantly seeing them on a daily, like even when normal free to air TV comes on and they talk, and I'm like, is anyone hearing what I'm seeing and hearing right now? Like, and then, and obviously there's two sides. There's that 3D world, people were still walking around believing everything they're seeing on that TV. And I just can't watch it for more than a second before it's itching at my brain, because I know it's not real. It's not true. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, yeah, a number of people have gotten a shakeup during that time that you referred to, right? The 2020 time area zone. Yeah, it's cool. So I do believe that, yeah, it was there for a reason, and hey, here we are reaping the benefits of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose with everything, you have to take the good and bad of everything. What did I get from that? What I got from that is understanding myself and everything else around me, not just taking it all for granted, not just continuing my day-to-day life of, that's okay, we run the business. The bills come in, the invoices come in, I chase the, customers. I felt like I was in a loop. And even though we run in a loop of 1 to 9 years, this kind of loop was kind of like I'm stuck in this loop and I'm not doing anything. So I'm getting given all this energy every single year. I'm not doing anything with it. I'm just running with it. And then every now and then you sort of fall into that energy, and you just magically it works. And then there's other times that it doesn't. But that's because we're not aware of what's going on around us, because they've kept us asleep from what's going on around us, because they don't want us to be aware. They'd rather us doing that trudgery of just constantly just in a circle, in a circle. I'll get there. I'll get to retirement age. I'll get to travel. I'll get to do this. I'll get to do that. Didn't want to do that anymore. I don't want to do that anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I hear you. And like, Listen, for someone who's stepped away from mainstream academia and started my own business, just like you have, and I've still got my 3D job. I teach at university, which is like fucking 3D, right? Like, but I like it. Like I'm into it, because I still get to talk to people, which hey, it's that three energy, right? I get to talk to
Yep.
people. I'm not in the lab doing brain surgery on animals. Like, hey, right? And then yeah, the business side, this like fascination with bridging spirituality and neuroscience and numbers and whatever else I tap into. It's very like it's inspiring is what I want to say because not everybody takes the leap of faith of, and I know you're still working with, in on your joint business with your husband, and here you are following this other passion, which is like so cool.
Yeah. And like you though, we both need to be in that 3D right now. We need to be in that 3D world, but also we can be in that 3D world and still be able to use what we're learning to help others. Like you said, you're in that 3D world at the university, but you might have some students that you interact with that say, well, hang on, you said something different to what's in these textbooks right now. How did you get that? Like, and now they're interested, they're inquisitive. You've just opened the door for them. You've just given that little slice of all they needed to open that door for themselves. Now it's up to them to find that energy that they've just seen and tapped into.
Oh
So maybe
yeah,
that's
no,
still sitting in that 3D world so that we can help everybody else see what we are seeing, that we're all excited about, that we're, oh, did you see this? Can you see what I'm seeing? Like, so I'm constantly, it's always numbers, and my husband's constantly having to listen to that, and yes, even you're doing that as well because you're bringing the numbers into it and it makes so much sense for you because it's another energy.
yeah. Like numbers are everywhere. But listen, so a couple things about the going in interacting with people in the 3D, like, hey, this is the plane, this is the plane that we're in right now, the predominant one, for whatever reason, right? Maybe because that's beyond the scope of this conversation, but here we are in 3D. It's not like I'm telepathically fucking doing this interview with you and then everybody's telepathically tuning in. No, this is on, this is a platform in 3D, and then I'm going to publish it. But there's something about also just the energetic frequency, like of interaction without even saying anything. Like me going to the university and being there is seeding the frequency that I hold there with the people, right? So then they get a flavor of that, and then whatever else happens, I don't know what. I'm not there to witness it, so to speak. But my intent is to impact people in that sense with just by being there. Not
Yeah.
like I don't even have to talk.
No, don't. And that's magic. So, that is woo. That is magic. That is beautiful because even you alone watching you on your social media and listening to when you're talking, it's not the same as what I'm doing, but I'm resonating with it and I'm going, oh yeah, okay. Like if I had have gone to university to be taught by, the same subject that you're teaching in your social media posts, my 3 energy, because it loves dot points, would probably have got bored and not taken any of it in. The way you're bringing it, you're bringing it with this different kind of energy that I'm going, wow, that's exciting. Oh, so, there's only 10% of that is real. So now I'm looking at plants going, is that
What
plant
am I
real?
looking at?
Looks like. So now I'm thinking that stuff. So you've got my brain going where I'm like, wow, that's amazing. So it's just expanding on what, like you said, you're just there and this is what's on my mind. So I'm saying it. Yeah.
It's cool, isn't it?
Very cool.
Okay, next question. Next question. So tell me, and everybody's going to benefit from this, but what's the difference between your expression number and your soul's urge? Like, yeah.
Yeah. So as in, okay, so our expression number, which is our full name, this is mostly our skills and talents. This is what a lot of people will be seeing how we sort of operate in the world and what we move around and what we do. Whereas our soul is real deep. It's something that it's an urge that pulls on us on what we want to, what we've come here to do and what we want to achieve. And a lot of the times that soul urge can't necessarily come out if we're not in tune with our life path number. The life path number is kind of like our meat suit we've got to use while we're walking on the planet so that we're stable. Once we tune into that, then a lot of the times the heart's desire can come out, and you'll start to venture different ways because your heart's desire is now coming out and doing what you want to do. So, yeah. Yep.
Okay, so let's say my expression number is 4, right? Which is like being of service, right? Which is kind of like fucking, that's what I do. I'm just like, that's what I do anyway. I'm like, as a mom, I'm of service. As a friend, I'm of service. As like whatever, as a university facilitator, I'm of service. It's all that, right? And then, but the soul's urge, I don't have the thing that you sent me. Oh no, I do. Hang on. It's a 39.3 from memory. Yeah, it is, right? So it's a 39.3. So the soul, like what my heart's desire is to teach slash heal slash that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And you do it childlike.
Oh, yeah.
You do it with that inquisitive, I want to know more about that. Like that looked like fun. What is that? I want to know more about that. So you're constantly grabbing at it and you're like, I'm going to grab it. And you've got that beautiful 7 energy in your grid so that you can pull it apart completely. So it complements your 3. So your soul, yeah. So, but that 4, your expression number is a 1034. So the 0 holds space and it has inner gifts. So your 103 changes what that 4 looks like. So it's not just a straight 4. A straight 4 would be very stable, very loyal, very practical, this is my program, this is what I'm going to stick to. It's still there. Those figures are still there, but because of the 103, you're able to hold space. You're able to move around with it. You're able to make sure that, there's a structure to it because the number 1 will step forward and sort of lead. When I talk lead, think of the alpha wolf that stands at the back of the pack and make sure everything else in front of them, everyone's in their line and everything. That's more that kind of leader. Rather than front saying, yeah, you follow me. That's like an arrogant sort of leader, it's just follow me, I know what I'm talking about, rather than standing back, making sure everyone's okay and in the right place. Therefore,
that's very interesting. I'm getting the links with astrology, as you say, because I'm a Virgo rising, right? I'm a Virgo rising, y'all, right? And then a Cancer sun and a Gemini moon. Of course, I'm a Gemini moon. I mean, where would we go without my Gemini moon? I'd be fucked if I didn't have that.
Oh, that's awesome. So I'm a Gemini. I've got my Cancer moon and a Scorpio rising.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah. So, yeah. Isn't it amazing when you can bring it all together? So with your Virgo moon, so your Virgo is, it strengthens that 4 in your expression, as well as the 0 is there to strengthen that. So for you, that's what you needed. You need that stability in that expression, in your skills and talents to be able to do what your heart's desire wanted to do. It needed you to do that so that you could, it can still go and learn all these things and be able to heal from it and end the cycles and show it to the world. 9's also about, showing it is humanitarianism. It's showing it to everybody.
Yeah, the humanitarianism, like slash the philanthropist, right? The philanthropist of where you go and let's say, I don't know, like let's say we make a lot of money, right? But then there's so many things you can do with that. But one of those things that like comes to my mind because of that 9 thing is like opening up orphanages, like shit like that, right? Which is like, who thinks of it? I mean, some people do, but it's the philanthropy, the 9 energy, the humanitarianism or whatever. Very cool. Very cool. Okay, well that answers that. What else would you want to talk about? So you know how you've been working with numbers your whole life, but it's like in a different frame, right? You've been seeing them for 30 years whilst doing the books, and it's like they were there. I think on a brain level, like that's registering anyway. Like we're always learning whether that's packed away somewhere in the brain. I mean, in the hippocampus and a couple other areas, but then something shifts, right? And like our worldview shifts. So now all that knowledge that you've acquired can be put to good use, so to speak. So to speak.
100%. 100%. When you think about it, I'm thinking about it right now. My first ever job was in a Tats Lotto agency. Numbers, full on.
My goodness,
And I
yeah.
started a business with my husband where I was the bookkeeper. He does all the work, I do all the bookkeeping, all the background stuff. So again, numbers. And then during my life where I'm like having these what feels like midlife crisis things, moments where I need to find my thing. So I'm, trying to find my thing. I went out, worked in real estate twice, 2 different real estate agencies. Again, think about it, numbers, because every house has a number. When you sell it, you need numbers. Everything,
Yeah.
mind you, everything about our life is numbers anyway. But it was like as if the numbers kept screaming at me, can you please pay attention? And I kept going, but I hate them because I'm in the bookkeeping side of this business and all I'm doing is chasing people for money and trying to pay my bills on time. When I discovered numerology, the energy of numbers, it changed my outlook on even the bookkeeping side of their business. So now I actually enjoy it when I get in and I quickly reconcile in the morning, get it over and done with, boom, nice and clean, and I'm happy with that. I do still have to chase customers, but I find it a little bit more fun now because I'm like looking at it going, that's funny. I might even look at the numbers that the person owes me and maybe add it together and go, oh, that makes sense. Maybe I'll call you on that day rather than this day because it might make a
It's
difference.
Yeah, it's such a leverage point, isn't it? And
Yeah.
I find it really handy with all the numbers that are popping up everywhere. Because some people are like, I want to talk to my spirit guides. I want spirit to give me a clear message. But it's like, dude, there's fucking messages all over. Just look. Like for me, for me, it's numbers, right? They're everywhere. They're on every fucking license plate, everywhere. And I'm almost like, sometimes I'm like, just stop. But in that sense, that is like the universe talking to us. It may be not, coming to me in a vision or like the way that whatever my perception of psychic ability is, but nonetheless, it's coming. Like I was listening to this thing. I think it was Bashar or some shit like that. But he was like, yeah, this chick was like, oh, well, how do I communicate with the universe? He's like, listen, in this like the universe always communicating with you. It's just that like it may appear in 3D, but that's still the universe talking to you. It doesn't necessarily need to be like a sacred geometry pattern in the ether, you know?
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
yeah.
It doesn't have to be like everybody else's. As you said, in one of your social media posts, you said about when you're told how it looks, then there's only 10% what you think. So if you think of it that way, someone says to me, "Oh, I had a vision. This person came to me, and it was a white light, and they stood there, and they had long hair, and da da da," and everyone's waiting for the same thing to happen. No, it's not necessarily going to happen that way. Like it's going to be there's going to be different visuals, there's different things. And yes, when it comes to numbers, they are everywhere. We start off with numbers. Our day of birth is the numbers we first have. And then we get a
Oh,
birth certificate, we get a name, all those numbers. Yeah. Yes.
a time of birth. I haven't even tapped into that. You know what I find peculiar? My time of birth is 11:40 a.m. Still an 11 in there and still a 4 in there. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, hey.
Wow. Wow. See? Yeah. It's
So,
not coincidental. And that's I suppose, again, the time of birth, that helps you whether you got twins. So you could add that into it as well and maybe give them, because there'll be a minute or two difference there. It's those numbers are there for a reason. They're not there just, magically just, oh, we're just there because they have to be there. They're there because there's a reason for it. There's a purpose in it.
very much. Very, very cool. I think I've said what I wanted to say. What else would you like to share with us?
No, that was fantastic. I appreciate the time, and it's been such a great chat. That was awesome. I'm glad we did it, like you said, raw, because then we could just pull everything apart together, which is fantastic. Because then we can show everybody else how you can pull this apart from raw.
Mm,
This
mm.
this is how we discover things, isn't it? Sometimes, it's got to be raw. You've got to be able to giving it to you, and then you pick it out yourself and understand it yourself, because We are all unique. We need to understand it our way, not what is fed to us.
Yeah. Oh, before you go, this is literally, I think, a personal thing. Can we talk about some positive, not doom and gloom sides of the seven energy, just for my personal interest, just so that I can reframe all of those. I love you, Angie. Wonderful number sevens in my life. Just let's just give me something.
Seven, seven energy. I understand. I thought I had an issue with the number seven energy and the five. So I've learned about these two energies and how to work and understand them better. The seven energy is very fast energy. So it's constantly bouncing around because it's constantly wanting to pull on wisdom. But it cannot be told because it needs to understand it on its terms. Doesn't mean it doesn't agree with you. So it'll take it on or say, thank you, I now need to go and pull it apart myself. They won't necessarily come back with something new, but they've come back with a bit more depth in it because for them, they needed to understand it on their terms. That's just how a seven works. This is how a seven can be what they call aloof. So they need to go and have that time on their own, to pull it apart and understand it. A seven energy can be also very entertaining if you're very patient with a seven. So my three energy sometimes has a little trouble with a seven energy son I have because he'll come out to tell us a story about, I don't know, one of his toys or one of these movies he's watched or something like that. And my three energy is like, yep, just give me the dot points. His seven energy wants to tell the whole story, which is magical because if you sit and listen to it, there's so much detail in it. But if you also stop it midway through, they get stuck and then they have to start at the start again. So it's one of those moments where just enjoy that moment because sevens bring so much wisdom, so much knowledge because they dig deeper into it. They're very tapped into spirituality. So, sevens, they just want to pull all that apart. That's what I love about a seven. Sevens also, because they're aloof, they're great markers for if it's 7 energy day and that doesn't work for you, don't go out. Try not to do those chores because the shop won't be open, the car parking won't be there. So it'll be like hitting a brick wall. But you can also take that on as, well, that's okay. I know that's a 7 energy. I've got to get these chores done though, so I know that I might have trouble with that shop. I might ring it first before I go. See how you can use those energies in your favor. Does that make sense? And we need that.
Yeah, no, it does. I do my daily thingy as well, just because I want to work with the energy of the day. I like to go outside on a 7 day. Like that's my thing. I need to be out there in nature, connecting with whatever.
Well, sevens love that. Sevens love water mostly as well. So if a 7 energy is feeling a bit flat or a bit overwhelmed by things, instead of going and hide in a room, they could go down to the beach and get some negative ions from the beach or go for a walk in the park or, down by the river. It's like a reboot, like our computers sometimes need to be rebooted sort of thing. That's a reboot for a 7. Yeah.
So beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. That caused some rewiring in my brain, that's for sure. And if you're life path 7, well, you just got a freebie right there. So enjoy. But how do we okay, so tell us about your offerings, where can people find you, so they can benefit from all this wisdom?
Well, I do have a website. It's called numberswithasta.com. And I am on Instagram and Facebook, which is just at @numberswithasta. I run numerology courses. I have 2 coming up. I have one in June, the 23rd, which is a Tuesday morning at 9:00 Australian Standard Time. And then in July, I have one on the 4th of July, which is a Saturday at 11 a.m.
Nice. And is this online?
Yes. So it's online Zoom. It's 10 weeks and I break down the numbers for you and teach you how to understand and read a full chart.
So
yeah.
Sorry. No, I was going to say in anything that arises within the course, because I find it like that with my neuroplasticity and epigenetics. Like every time I ran the course, something different comes up based on the energies in that course. So it's like the exploratory dive is never the same.
Yeah. Exactly. And because I'll have different people and different unique blueprints in the room, we bounce off each other, and I'm always constantly helping each student to understand themselves first and foremost, because once you understand yourself, it's so much easier to then understand all the energies that are around you, and it can help on so many different levels. Like, so many relationships could be, less troublesome if you understood what their energy is. Like, if I'd understood my daughter earlier on in life before she became a teen and we were clashing all the time, and everyone tells you, oh, that's just mother and daughter thing. It's not. She has a different energy to mine. And if we understood each other's energy, we'd be able to know when to be in the same room and when not to, which is nothing wrong with that. It's just understanding and appreciating the energies at the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So beautiful. All right, Asta, well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your wisdom and yourself and your frequency and your energy and everything. Thank you.
Thank you, Val. Thank you for having me. I really appreciated it. It's been an awesome time. Thank you.
Absolutely. And as always, thanks to the listeners. Thank you for your shares. Thank you for your likes. Thank you for your subscribes, super likes, whatever you call them. And if you want to get in touch, you know where it's at. And until we see you again.